would you treat both sides as equal when there is so much suffering? But the alien doesn't understand and accidentally is an unbiased news source.
I'm confused. When I first saw the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, I thought that it was a poorly written soap opera because of its repetitive, pointless drama. But then I learned that it was actually real, and unfortunately many lives have tragically been lost. Which only confused me further, because if it is real, then why do most humans ignore it? If only it was a soap opera, it would get better ratings. Now, in the previous episode, we learned that in 1948, Israel established independence through a war with the Arab League. What happened next? In 1967, Israel started a second war by surprise bombing Egypt's airplanes. Israel did not start the war, they just attacked first. There's a big difference. I'm pretty sure when the Egyptian Prime Minister said that he would annihilate Israel, that's what started the war. Egypt's like that guy at the bar that always talks a bunch of shit. Hey man, you wanna fight? But then he ends up taking you to court. Your Honor, he injured my nose in a way that prevents me from modeling. Can you elaborate on the tactics used? The key to Israel's success was their air supremacy. They got this by rapidly bombing the Egyptian airplanes, so they then had control over the skies to take on Syria and Jordan. In fact, Israel won so fast that it was called the 6-Day War. Guess they had to move fast, so on the 7th day, they can honor the Sabbath. We've gotta bomb them now, because on Saturday, I can't use electricity. Oh, your version of the story makes total and complete sense, the way that Egypt was surprised by a war that they started. We must annihilate Israel. What, they're bombing us? I was not expecting this. So you think Israel is the aggressor? It's true that Egyptian President Nasser said those words, but it's wrong that Israel's existence was threatened in the slightest. Instead, they took advantage of the Arabs' empty threats to jack their land. Israeli General Pilid, who was chief of logistical command during the war, said after in March of 1972, "No person in his right mind would believe that all this force was necessary for our defense against the Egyptian threat." Are you sure he said it in that tone of voice? Okay, I'll more calmly read a quote from Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin on August 8, 1982. After 1957, Israel had to wait 10 full years to fly its flag again over the liberated portion of the homeland. This is in reference to Egypt controlling the Gaza Strip. In June 1967, we had a choice. The Egyptian army concentrations in the Sinai approaches do not prove that Nasser was really about to attack us. We must be honest with ourselves. We decided to attack him. It's been going on 19 years that the United States has been fighting in Afghanistan against impoverished Taliban hoodlums. So if the Arab League was really a threat to Israel's existence, then how did Israel defeat Egypt, Jordan, and Syria in 6 days? In that case, send the Jews to Afghanistan. I'm sure the Afghani goat farmers are as much of a threat to Israel's existence. Hold on a second. To provoke this 1967 war, did Egypt just make verbal threats? No, they blockaded the river that Israel imports its supplies through called the Straights of Tiran, which if you think about it is a dumb move considering that Israel's strength is its air force. Hello? We Egyptians will stop you with this boat. Israel used brutal tactics, including torturing Egyptian prisoners of war. You know what they should have done to Egyptian prisoners? Enslave them to build pyramids. The biggest issue is that Israel seized so much land after the 1967 war, including the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and the Golan Heights. What do you expect when you aggress against a country like that and lose? Oh, you tried to genocide me and you lost? That's okay. Just don't do it again. So if Israel claims the West Bank, then exactly what land is Palestine? That's what I'm complaining about. There is no Palestine. You know why there's no conservatives in the Occupy Wall Street movement? It'd be redundant. American troops and Israelis already occupy everything. In fact, I'm surprised that when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, He didn't get a cease and desist notice from Jewish lawyers claiming that Israel originally occupied the moon. Let's end the episode here. I'd like to summarize what I learned in this episode and the previous one. The main turning points for the Palestine-Israeli conflict happened in 3 stages. In Stage 1, before the 1948 war, the British controlled Palestine. Then after the 1948 war, in Stage 2, Israel took control of 78% of Palestine, while as the remaining areas were taken by the Arab League, with Jordan taking control of the West Bank and Egypt taking control of the Gaza Strip. Then in the 3rd stage, after the 1967 war, Israel took control of both of those areas, as well as from Syria, the Golan Heights. In this episode, we focus exclusively on the wars that gave birth to the borders of modern-day Israel. In the next episode, we'll look at some of the violent groups that spawned as a result of this to resist, and debate if Israel actually funded Hamas. This is a really good episode, so if you're subscribed, make sure to turn on notifications. I'll see you next time. I mean, shit, I'd vote for a Jewish president if Afghanistan could be turned into a 6-day war. I'd vote for a Jewish president if they'd stop wasting money. Israel is out for conquest, like it's the TV show Game of Thrones. Oh, is that so? Well, then you'd think that Egypt wouldn't try and beat Khaleesi's airforce by sea. With this boat, Egypt will stop you.